Yep, still figuring some things out. My lighting is messed up. Once I get that figured out, I will get this thing cracking. All right, I think that that's about the best I'm going to get it. The lighting, I have it on its lowest setting, and if I turn on my overhead light, it's just going to be, I think it's going to be overkill. So I just dimmed everything. Let me fire up my camera. Welcome to uh, Today a Better Way, the Families Anonymous reading, and then I'm going to share where I'm at in it. So let me fire my camera up. Okay. All right. Well, welcome to Today a Better Way live. I'm going to be reading out of a Families Anonymous reader, and I'll show you what it looks like, the hardcover. Today a Better Way. Ooh, that looks nice in this lighting. So it's a Families Anonymous publication. So it's really I was made aware that this book was out there by attending a local program by a organization called the Heartview Foundation, and they do addiction recovery stuff, recovery things, and they offer a support program called the Heart Program, and they would read this book, and they would family members would share, so they had a loved one that was going through some treatment there. They would share, and I was just like, man, this has got to be available to everyone. If there was other ways to get it out there, it'd be so cool to have support. And so this is kind of I call them nudges. So I believe that this is the way that I can give back. Um, we were going through a very tough time at that time when we first came into the Heart program at the Heartview Foundation here in Bismarck, North Dakota, and angry, had a lot of questions, wondering what's going on. What did we do wrong, and and then we got in that meeting and we find out that those things are normal, and then we find out that we got issues. And by we, I meant my wife. My wife and I, we had enough on our plate to deal with us, and we were trying to manage our loved one's life. And so when they started reading these, I was like, wow. And then listening to other stories, I was like, wow. So I thought, well, you know, this would be so cool if other families, other folks that were where we were at that time, or wherever they are at in the journey, if they could experience this, it would be so cool. And so I don't know when it was, but I got the nudge. And nudges to me are just there. It's communication from Creator God. That's who my higher power is. A little bit about me. I have 20 years of sobriety, 21 years this November, and man, my family has a long line of addiction in it. And so I brought a lot into it. And so when we went into there, and um, I already had kind of, I don't know, maybe an awareness of what it meant to have a, to have a higher power. My mother raised me in Dakota way, and you would probably know that as Sioux way, if you're from, um, if you're familiar with the Great Plains tribes. We call ourselves Oceti Shakoni, the seven council fires of the Great Sioux Nation. I'm part of the Eastern Band, the Santee. They're the Dakota people. They speak the D dialect, and traditional homelands. We're in Minnesota, so mom taught us that way. But there was another piece. She taught us Roman Catholic. That was something that was in the family. So I had an overall awareness of who Creator was and is. So you're going to hear a lot of that. I am a follower. I'm a disciple. I'm a believer in Jesus. But I don't put that on anyone. I'm able to walk in both worlds. I'm able to be Dakota, and I'm able to follow Jesus. And you're going to hear a lot of that in this place. So please bear with me. The things that I share are from my perspective. Like one of the podcasts I like is the Recovery Show by Spencer. I don't know what his last name is, but I feel like you got to give props to the people that have helped you, that have served you, that have helped you grow. And so I want to show his podcast here so that maybe you can go there and find some help. And so let me see if I can get that. Come on, focus, focus, focus. There it is. So the Recovery Show. It's on. That looks like a butterfly or a moth or something, but that's how you find it. Type it in your podcast stuff. Hopefully, I'll get really good at be able to do this on the fly. I'm pretty new to OBS software, so it'd be cool to be able to throw links up there. I've ordered a Stream Deck, so hopefully I'll get really good at this, and this will be my way of serving the community that was overlooked during the pandemic. Prior to going into the pandemic, we still have. It's an opioid crisis in the United States, and pandemic happens, and those individuals are forgot about. And I heard one native elder say, "We have no idea what the results of what happened. Once we start getting the data back about how many people we lost, and it breaks my heart. So this is my way to give back to a program, to Spencer, with the Recovery Show, to Al-Anon, to Families Anonymous, to those people that have poured into me and helped me work my program. And I'm going to speak from that space. So I'll share things, my experiences. I'll share the reading. So each day a reading, and my spine is broken on this hard copy. So that's what a reading looks like. That's how I'm able to show it to you. So if you can see date at the top, the subject forgiveness, and then at the bottom there's like an action item to today I'll be sharing that reading, and then just sharing with you how I'm living it, how I'm experiencing it, where I'm at, how I'm working my program. And I'll share in such a way that it's probably going to be frustrating, in all honesty. I'm not the best orator. I'm not the best. I don't speak with highly academic language. I mean, I'm a autodidactic in the truest sense. I go out there and find answers myself, and I'm always I'm a learner. I'm listening to audiobooks. I'm reading papers. So I'll do my best. Sometimes I just pick things out of the air and I just string things together, and And I apologize for that, but in a way I don't apologize for it because that's how I talk. So I'm going to jump right into the reading. I'll do my best to, I'm going to try to look up from time to time. It's kind of hard to, right there. That's about the best spot I can look at it and read it. Okay. August 12th, forgiveness. Too often, the notion of forgiveness is overlooked, as if it were merely some unrealistic religious concept. In fact, forgiveness is the spiritual foundation of letting go of self esteem and of serenity and recovery. An interesting attribute of forgiveness is that it proceeds from inside out. We get angry about those characteristics in others that we most dislike in ourselves, and we must forgive ourselves before we can forgive others. The act of forgiving ourselves makes it possible to let go of the drug user by forgiving him or her. It allows us to regain our self esteem by refocusing our energy away from the abuser and onto ourselves. Self forgiveness lifts the heavy burden of guilt, anger, resentment, and hate so that we can achieve serenity. As one of the spiritual foundations of recovery, forgiveness is a good daily routine when it is focused properly on oneself. The forgiveness of others can follow. This focus helps in my recovery and in the recovery of others. Today I will forgive my own shortcomings so that I can forgive the shortcomings of others. Yeah, yeah. That's definitely hard. I beat myself up a lot. If you were to be one of my friends or acquaintances that would see me on a consistent basis, you would know right away. You would be like, "Yep, that's Bob. And what he's saying is true." Um, I just hard time forgiving myself. I think of like, yeah, and please forgive me if I like, I don't know, have these long pauses because it's just a defense mechanism. I'm trying to stop myself. I'm trying to control the pain and the processing, and so I don't. I but I'm gonna get better at that. You're gonna see. When I was over on Facebook Live, I would let my emotions be felt, but over here it just feels new on YouTube. So, I recently, taking 100% responsibility for where I'm at, I got away from Facebook. Um, just bad things. Just bad things for me, and I need to take 100% responsibility. So I just said, I'm done. I'm done with Facebook. I got to walk away. And but over there, I had a community. I had a following, and people would comment and all that. So here it's like starting new. So it feels new, and so it feels like I need to control my emotions. So I apologize for that. That's why you'll get the pauses. So man, I am one of the hardest people. Uh, it's hard for me to forgive myself. I mean, it's hard for me to forgive others too, but it's like I give them, excuse me, I'm quicker to forgive them than I am myself. I love the way the person that wrote this, whoever did, because there's submissions from all walks of life, all manner of people. But I love the way that they highlight right at the beginning. Let's see here. It's in the second paragraph. An interesting attribute of forgiveness is that it proceeds from the inside out. I like that. To me, that reminds me of Jesus' teaching. And as a Dakota man, I understand him. We have a name for him. When I look at the way that when the people, my ancestors, were told about him, and not and just about him, not has to doesn't have to do with the denomination or a um, what would you call it, charismatic or reformed or whatever. It doesn't have anything. When our people heard about him, they gave him a name, and it's Wanikia. It means the savior or redeemer, I believe, is what it's translated to. Um, but that was his name, Wanikia. So when they heard the story about Jesus, they gave him a name. They're like, he would be this. And And so when I hear his teachings and I'm reminded of them within creation in the world as I journey among the those that are struggling with addiction, the loved one, love other people that are like me that have loved ones that are struggling with addiction, and they're struggling with codependency, and I've learned from them. I've learned from them, like for some of them, they might they might share whatever their belief is. But when I hear about when I read in Scripture where he says, "Remove the plank from your own eye, and then you'll see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's." Like you'll finally see clearly that the thing that is wrong with your brother is, or that other person is minor compared to what's going on in you. Another theologian, who was it? C.S. Lewis in Mere Christianity. He says, oftentimes the sin that you identify in somebody else is the very one you struggle with. So that sin that you despise in somebody else is the sin that you struggle with. And so when I think about that, I think about like what this is saying. An interesting attribute is forgiveness is that it proceeds from the inside out. It has to begin with me. I need to forgive myself. I need to find out where I'm at in that. If I'm walking around, maybe the reason why I'm feeling this way about my loved one, because I have loved ones that are struggling with addiction. Let me turn this up a little. It just seems like it's a little bit dim, so I want to turn up the light just a little bit, or else it's gonna bother me. So let me make sure. Oh, that's a little too bright. Right there. I'm just gonna let it go. Um, so it makes sense to me, and it has made sense to me. Like a lot of times when I see my loved ones struggling, I put on them stuff that's going on in me, and I need to deal with that. I need to deal with that stuff first. That's what I have to do, and that's what I believe Jesus, Wanikia, is teaching to be. Is that I need to figure out me first. In recovery, they talk about working your own program, and maybe 20 years gives me some kind of, maybe a week, maybe a year gives me some kind of authority to speak. I don't know. Maybe my age, I'm 47 winters traveling on this planet. I don't know. But I feel like because I by God's grace and God's grace alone, I have sobriety. I can talk about some of these things. And so when I'm journeying among um, at AA groups and NA and recovery groups, support groups, and they talk about working your own program. I believe that's when I tell other people you have to worry about you have to work your own program. And some believers in the church would be like, what do you mean by that? It's like, all I'm saying is remove the plank from your own eye. All you're worried about another person. Oh, okay, now I get it. And that's what I would tell you. That's how I understand it. Is I need to work on me first. If I'm triggered about them, there's something going on, and it has to do with me. I have to focus on me. What is going on? I can't control this other person, so I better pull that plank out of my eye. And it's interesting that Wanikia calls it a plank or calls it a log, because a lot of times in Scripture they talk about people being trees of righteousness planted along the banks of the river of the Lord. And the reason why they look so healthy and full of leaves and fruit is because they're planted next to a source that is nourishing. And it's interesting that when he says remove the log out of your own eye, logs are dead. They're not. They're no longer connected to something that continues to bring life to them. And I think to myself, well, I wonder how that applies to me, and what does that mean? And it hasn't. The past few years, it's just the aha moment for me is that log is me. I am looking. I am looking at my loved one and another individual through the lens and filter of me. I can't see past myself. And I was like, oh, there's so much there. I had picked that apart for days and figure out what that means. And that's where I'm at when it comes to for forgiveness, is that I might think that the other person needs this, but it has to start here. So I need to work on that first. And then the other thing that I like about what this individual wrote is in the second or in the third paragraph, the act of forgiving ourselves makes it possible to let go of the drug user by forgiving him or her. I have to be able to forgive myself first. That's where the power comes from. That's how I understand that. That's what I've come to understand also, is that when I can take care of me, then I can see clearly. Like Wanikia's words, Jesus' words are so like this addiction community has really, this recovery community has given me another revelation of this facet, this precious gem that is faith, you know. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, look at that. People that are in chaos in their life, you know, and they're trying to get their lives back on, and then the people around them are trying to help them. There's truth in this community. And it just fascinates me. It fascinates me that I got to let go of that individual and focus on me. And by not worrying about them and removing the plank that is me, because I can't see past myself, that's where the power comes. And it's not that it has anything to do with power. It's just that that's when things change. An amazing thing happened for one of my loved ones. When I stopped trying to manage their life, things got better. I quit trying to solve their problems for them, and I just started treating them as a human being that has hopes, dreams, and fears, you know, and has you know, sorry, I have thin doors, so you're gonna hear the dog. You know what? It's probably somebody right at the door. I'm gonna take a short intermission. I will be right back, okay? And I'll continue at this part. Stand by. Okay, back. Let me get back. Okay. So when when I let this individual, hold on, I gotta. Well, hopefully that door will be fine. I left my door open. Um, when I let them go, and I worried about myself, and I worked on me. What happened was is I don't know. It was like in the unseen that all of that energy was now. I was treating them like a human being that had hopes, dreams, fears, and when I took all that energy off of trying to manage their life, I quit triggering them, and they started getting better. I don't know how long that'll last, but I'm just telling you that when that happened, I was like, oh, crazy, huh? Oh, that's basic stuff, Bob. As a parent, really? You know how much we try to manage our children's lives? Our adult children's lives at that too? It's just like, holy cow. I have enough on my plate with me. I better worry about me. Worry about my own log. Worry about my own program. So just powerful. Excuse me. Continuing on, it's in the third. It's in the third. In the third paragraph. It allows us to regain our self esteem by refocusing our energy away from the abuser and onto ourselves. Crazy, huh? When you quit putting all that energy out there and you put it on yourself, you work on yourself. It's like the Stoics say, right? When you make small incremental improvements or every day, things change. Just wow. Self-forgiveness forgives or lifts the heavy burden of guilt, anger, resentment, and hate, so that we can achieve serenity. It's crazy that when I started getting better at forgiving myself, the peace did come. You know, I started. I would condemn myself. I would beat myself up. And Scripture talks about this form of self asceticism that you're trying to do. You know, I can't remember what church it was. He was talking to the Apostle Paul. It seems like a form of, it seems like godliness, but it's not. You gotta stop. And so I'm just like, oh my god, trying to manage other people's lives has made you blind, Bobby. You know, so you'll hear me refer to myself that way. People call me Bob or Bobby. You know, very few people call me Robert. Maybe in an official way, but my friends call me Bob, and my family calls me Bobby. But I've been going by Bobby lately, is because there is a reason why my family called me Bobby. So and it's kind of like a more intimate, and so I that's how I named this channel, Bobby Gray Eagle. So and then the last paragraph. As one of the spiritual foundations of recovery, forgiveness is a daily routine or daily ritual when it is focused properly on oneself. And that's the thing. That is a great small incremental step that you could do every day, is forgive yourself. You know, one of the last things I do before I really um, roll over, you know, and get comfy in the blankets or whatever, is I pray. And I'll say something like, and the reason why I pray this prayer specifically is because it unites me to a larger community. And so I'll pray something like this. I pray that you'd forgive me all my sins, how I've sinned against you in thought, word, and deed, by what I've done and by what I've left undone. You see it all, and I give it all to you. You know, it's in those moments where I'm giving it all to him. I'm forgiving myself, and you know, I'll try harder tomorrow. You know, I'll do the best with what I can. If you bless me, if I wake up tomorrow, you give me the gift of another day, you know, and then I start my day with gratitude. I thank him for waking me up. But these are incremental steps. You gotta get that stuff, give it to him right away, and then forgive yourself when you give it to him. If he's not condemning you, we shouldn't let anyone else, including ourselves, condemn ourselves and condemn us. And then let's see. Then the last sentence says, then forgiveness of others can follow. Crazy, huh? When Jesus says, once you remove that plank, you get out of your own way, then you'll see clearly. Then you'll see clearly to help your brother remove the speck of dust from his eye. And so when I think of that, that's what comes to mind when I read that. Then forgiveness of others can follow. Like that's where true power can come in. There's something about a person that has that integrity within them. They've done the work that they can now. It's like they have the authority in the spiritual realm, or you know, the quantum realm. Kind of more making this a Marvel thing. And they have the authority to speak and help that individual in their life. This focus helps my recovery, and in the recovery of others. And then the action item. Today I'll forgive my own shortcomings. You have to give it to him. You have to make your account short. Forgive yourself. I don't know how you do that. You know, people might think this is strange, but I have a little altar there. It's more symbolic than anything, doesn't, you know, but for me, I light that candle in the morning, I burn some sweetgrass, and I thank him. I talk to Creator. At night, make your bed your altar and present your body as a sacrifice to him. The things that I've done today, I give them to you, man. You know, giving them to him, you're giving them to the one that can cleanse you. You're forgiving yourself. You know what? I can't hold on to this. I'm gonna do this thing, and then things can happen. You know, so I like these Families Anonymous publications on this, and I'm just gonna leave it at that right there, and then I'll just kind of fill you in, kind of what this playlist is all about. So this is gonna go over to. I'm sorry, I'm trying to make sure that this book doesn't fall. This playlist here is under recovery and such. And the other thing that I would like to start reading too, and I got to get a hard copy of it. I have it on my iPad, but it's called Courage to Change. So within this channel, it's my way of giving back. Giving freely what I received. Scripture says, you received. It was given to you freely. Give it away freely. So that's what I'm gonna do. And hopefully it helps someone. That's all I can do is just put it out there and hopefully somebody finds it. So if you are a dad, I'm a father, I'm an uncle, I'm a brother, and I'm thinking about all these relationships. I'm a friend, I'm a nephew. I'm thinking of all these relationships that I have where I might have a loved one that the last I heard they're still struggling with whatever form of addiction. I'm trying to give back, and I'm trying to speak from a place that is like more of a fatherly place. I won't share their, it's their story to tell. I'll try to do my wife and my adult children a solid by not sharing the details. And when I do share, it'll probably have a lot of what would you call it, like the names and places have been scratched off so that they maintain dignity, and it's, like I said, it's their story to tell. But I still feel like I can share in such a way, and they're fine with it. I've asked them in the past, but they're fine with it, So I keep like some of the really detailed stuff, and the specifics. I keep that, maybe change a date or location or whatever, but this is my way of giving back. And so yeah, this channel, yeah, also because I'll be offering there's another playlist I have that's called Savage Theology, and it's just me trying to be a native theologian, and my vision for that is trying to hear native perspectives on how other tribes are walking, still living their tribal reality, their tribal way of life, and still following Jesus. And that's possible. How I know that's possible is because the disciples still continued to be Jews in Hebrew, and they still continued to follow Jesus. They were his disciples. So I know it's possible. And that's what I want to talk about there. And I'll have guests and all that. So I'm getting better at this. Like I incorporated 2 new things on the stream here, and I'm pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about that. So small wins. This is one of the things I'll be capturing in my 1 line a day 5-year journal for today. Is like, hey, I took another jump. I incorporated 2 new things into the stream. So I'm glad that whoever you are, if you saw this, if it was helpful to you, I hope it was encouraging. Remember, the one thing that I can share with you is that we got to worry about us. It doesn't sound good. I remember the first time I heard it doesn't sound good. It doesn't. I get it. But as a guy that's further down the road, I can say it's true. I've realized and experienced the truth. So the water's fine. Jump on in. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you for watching. Please comment. As I get better on this, I'll be able to provide more information, more links, things I've talked about, maybe websites, things like that. I'll be able to go back and put those things in there. But for right now, it's just me, and I'm trying to figure out all this stuff. So I hope it was a blessing to you. In Dakota way, we don't say goodbye. We say see you later, and it sounds better in Dakota. So I'm going to sign off for the night, and I'm going to say Dokshta Ake. I'll see you later. Have a good night.